טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I am glad and grateful to see you all on this very springy spring break of ours. Thank you for making it into our humble halls. I would love to call up for the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles on page 20, Suzanne Winchester, and I'm going to tell you a little more in just a little bit more time about how she deserves this honor, because she did some truly funny and ridiculous things. We are on page 120 for the lighting of the Shabbat candles that mark, take your time, that mark for us now that the sun is up longer. It marks for us the official beginning of Shabbat. It replaces the sunset. This is when Shabbat. Are you okay? Oh, okay. That's dramatic candle lighting. Okay.
Went out the first time. The first time. It's good.
Great. No, that's a Yisha Koach. Here it is. Perfect. And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Shabbat Shalom and Yisha Koach, and thank you. On page 93, there is a reading that begins, "Working is another way of praying." 93. Working is another way of praying. You plant in Israel the soul of a tree. You plant in the desert the spirit of gardens. Praying is another way of singing. You plant in the tree the soul of lemons. You plant in the gardens the spirit of roses. Singing is another way of loving. You plant in the lemons the spirit of your son. You plant in the roses the soul of your daughter. Loving is another way of living. You plant in your daughter the spirit of Israel. You plant in your son the soul of the desert. It is the first Shabbat of the month of Nisan. A new year just began. Maybe you didn't notice, but here it is. It comes without extended long services and without a Shana Tova. It just begins in the trees. It begins in the flowers in the gardens. It begins in the earth and the sky. Nisan is the month of flowers and fruit. It's the month when we're going to sing on the Shabbat morning services on April 4th at 9:30 here in this hall. We're going to read the Song of Songs, the highest of high love songs in our Torah. And it's all about apples and pomegranates and deer and gazelles, sparkling waters and the sound of the turtle doves. And this is the month, the first month of the year, that brings every year the question, how do you want to begin? And also, is there something, a new chapter maybe just a spring cleaning, maybe a new intention, a new hobby that you're going to take up at this time. What kind of beginnings wait for you? I called up Suzanne to light the Shabbat candles for us because there is a mitzvah that during the month of Nisan, we need to say a blessing over a blossoming fruit tree, the first blossoming fruit tree of the year. And as it is not easy in Montana to fulfill this mitzvah, we have here a wide array of blowing pussy willows, right? This is their blossoms. They're not strictly speaking a fruit tree. Budding branch of a cherry tree, which is great, except that it's not flowers. And then Suzanne took the liberty and she hand taped some crocus on a branch. So we have now some flower on some branch. And if the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to see this, I hope they smile again, with us, and we're going to say the blessing. And if you feel uncomfortable, just don't respond amen, because it is a wide stretch. I agree with you. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שלא חיסר בעולמו כלום וברא בו בריאות טובות ואילנות טובות ליהנות בהם בני אדם. Which literally means, blessed are you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, who made it so that nothing in his world is missing, and who created beautiful creatures and beautiful fruit trees so that we, humans, can enjoy them. We begin Kabbalat Shabbat. We begin the beginning of our Shabbat service on page 136 with Psalm 29. Just dwell a little longer on the question, what's beginning in your life right now that you would like to bless? 136.
מזמור לדוד, habul Adonai b'nei Elim, habul Adonai, kavod ba'oz, habul Adonai, kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai b'adrat kodesh, kol Adonai hamayim el hakavod hirim, Adonai hamayim rabim, kol Adonai b'koach, kol Adonai be'adar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayeshaber Adonai et arzei Havanon, vayakidem kamo egel Levanon besirion kemo venremim, kol Adonai chotz lavodesh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yacholel ayalot vayechesov ye'arot uchechalot kulo mer kavod, Adonai
138. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Come, friends, let's rise. Let's greet the bride of Shabbat.
Lachadodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmi'anu el ha'miuchad Adonai echad u'shemo L'shem u'letiferet ve'litchila. L'chadodi likrat kala.
Verse 5. Verse 2.
Sof Maaseh B'machshavat Tehillah. Adodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
התעוררי, כי בעורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ינני ינני ינני, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ינני ינני ינני, בני שבת נקבלה.
peace, enter in gladness, enter in joy. Page 140, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. This is the song for Shabbat. In the evening it sounds like a wind settling into a valley. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Shimcha Elyon, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Shabbat Shalom. A prayer of Rabbi Nachman of Watzlaw. Grant me the ability to be alone. May it be my custom to go outdoors every day among the trees and grass, among all growing things, and there may I be alone and enter into prayer, to talk with the one to whom I belong. May I express there everything in my heart, and may all the foliage of the field, all grasses, trees, and plants, and glued on crocuses, awake at my coming to send the powers of their life into the words of my prayer, so that my prayer and speech are made whole through the life and spirit of all growing things, which are made as one by their transcendent source. May I then pour out the words of my heart before your presence like water, O God, and lift up my hands to you in worship on my behalf and that of my children. It's a little simple prayer that echoes so much in our Torah. It echoes Moses' final song on the other side of the Jordan River, looking over. And what does he talk about? He talks about grass and weeds and rain and the sense of gratitude when things start to grow and blossom, even if it's not your doing, even if you're not even the one enjoying it. It echoes the prayer of Aaron the high priest, stepping into the sanctuary, saying over and over again, I'm doing this on my own behalf, on the behalf of my house, and on behalf of the entire people of Israel. Just imagine you step into your garden on a tree, like you climb on a tree, you go for a hike, and you do that like Moses and Aaron. You start praying with the grass and the weeds, the flowers and the trees. And you're asking just for one thing. Hear my prayer. May everything that grows around me give my prayer the energy, the purity, and the beauty it needs to come to fruition. Page 146. Please rise if you're able for Baruch Hu. If you're able. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. seated, please be seated. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מהרי ואהבים. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. 150, with eternal love have you loved us. אהבת עולם. בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגי יום ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. 152. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. Page 157. A reading that begins with "In a world." In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then we shall rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 158. Mi chamocha, who is like you?
Adonis, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות תוסף אלך, נורא תהילות תוסף אלך.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו.
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. The sense of redemption always comes with a sense of settling down, being held. On page 160, Hashkivenu, redemption doesn't come with battle cries. It comes in softer ways.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
v'hamidenu
Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu
leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
אתה ועד
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו
אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Just to be safe. Okay. We are not only beginning a new year right now, we're also beginning a new book, the book of Vayikra, the third book of Moses, the third book in our Torah, the least beloved of them all, the book with which begins traditional Hebrew education, because it is so bland and so boring that even kids can't find ways to have fun with it. Here we are, Vayikra, Baruch haba, welcome. Last week, we read the last parsha of the book of Exodus. It's called Pikudei. It's also a little strange one, but it's gorgeous. We're hearing about the artist Bezalel in the shadow of God, about the art and the gold and the crimson of this shining and glittering Mishkan in the desert. A miracle, a breathtakingly beautiful thing. And now we begin the first parsha of the book of Vayikra, which is called also Parashat Vayikra. And we read about the blood and the sprinkling, and that we shouldn't rip the meat when we cut the animals, and that we have to clean up the ashes. And it couldn't get more physical and more stinky and more blood, drenched as this parsha. Those two things are an interesting symbol of that dialogue that we see in our lives over and over again. It's a wild mix between the beautiful and the glorious, and also just the mess that you have to clean up over and over again. Who here has never been to San Francisco? Okay, you have to go, because now a part of this sermon will not make much sense, but sorry for that. I just spent 3 days in San Francisco, and I was expecting it to be warmer than it is here. But thanks to this beautiful heat wave that we're in there, I was in complete wonderland. The sea was glittering, the sky was blue, bridges were spanning over the water. There was an abundance of trees, tall trees, small trees, blossoming trees, regular trees. Everybody talked about the symbolisms of bridges for bridge building between, rabbis and other people who sometimes fight. And, And we even learned about this very famous, apparently world famous, Gishra de Pumbedita, which you were able to see if you were a Babylonian Jew in about the 7th century in the famous Beit Midrash in Pumbedita, which is a city in Babylonia that housed one of 2 world famous Jewish yeshivot at the time. And even they loved bridges and loved to talk about the symbolism of bridges. And it was all very, very glorious. And if you haven't gone, you should go. I liked it a lot. But not only was it hotter than I expected it to be, it also was much sadder. There were hundreds and hundreds of Reform rabbis from all over this country, from Europe, and even 2 made it out of Israel via Egypt. They all joked about the Yetziat Mitzrayim, and they were able to come and join us there in San Francisco because there were flights from Cairo. There were so many talks and small groups and panel discussions, and they all mainly focused on the topic of fear and anxiety. There were the current wars, the never-ending one in the Ukraine, the new one in Iran, the battles in Lebanon, the spiking numbers of anti-Semitic incidents in this country, the personal exhaustion that so many of them acutely felt after years of COVID, after October 7th, after ongoing wars, rockets, bombs, and just this never-ending sense of complete political unpredictability. So much seems frightening and exhausting. And even though these different rabbis expressed it in radically different ways, Israeli rabbis speaking about bomb shelters, American rabbis speaking about sadness and depression, European rabbis complaining about the lack of entertainment, we all meant the same. There's very little joy to have in these days. I am usually quite stable and calm. It's a good thing, I think, most of the time, because sometimes people say to me, Rabbi, I feel better when I leave the synagogue, and I think that's good. But sometimes I'm also worried that I'm a little numbed. I have 2 kids. I feel like, whatever is happening, I'm going to make breakfast tomorrow, so I'm not going to have a complete meltdown. I've also lived maybe for a little too long in the Middle East, and my focus is often more there than it is here, in spite of the fact that today is my 1-year citizenship anniversary, as Cody remembered. So much of what happens here, I compare to what's happening there. And often what's happening here is, is a little bad, but it's not as bad as it could be, by far not. And so I started to ask myself this week, while looking into all these exhausted, delusioned, cynical rabbi faces surrounding me, am I always fully present to how deeply awful some of us feel? There was one song that, to my big surprise, no one sang at that rabbinic conference. And just stay with me for a moment. It's by the same Rabbi Nachman of Vaslov, who wrote the prayer about going out and being lonely and singing with the trees. He wrote the song that so many of you know. Kol haolam kulo. If you know it, sing along. Gesher tzar me'od. Gesher tzar me'od. Gesher tzar me'od. Kol haolam kulo. Gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, ve'ha'olam
והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר לא לפחד כלל.
The entire world is a narrow bridge. And the most important thing is just not to be afraid. So it is usually translated. And every rabbi knows that that's a mistake. It's not supposed to be, don't be afraid. It's supposed to be, don't make yourself afraid. Stop putting yourself into panic. Do not spread fear. Spread love and care and the ability to balance on that very, very narrow bridge. Say it's okay. You can take another step. You can take two. We can do it together. At the conference, I listened to one talk, kind of stuck with me. And it was all about what enables us to put one foot in front of the other. Even if we have no idea how narrow the bridge is and if it's actually ending in 2 days from now, we don't know, but we still have to walk. And this talk was given by a woman who teaches future studies. She started with a really funny question. She asked, how many of you have studied history? And, a whole bunch of people raised their hands. And then she said, and how many of you have studied the future? And nobody raised the hand. And she said, and that is the problem. Because you need to prepare for the things that are unknown, especially in a time like ours. So how do we prepare to walk very narrow bridges? She said, most importantly, you need to be able to respond to 2 sets of questions. Set number 1, what is fixed and what is flexible? And set number 2, what are you clear about? So an example for what is fixed, for example, is that it is going to become summer. What is flexible is like how hot it actually going to become. Another example is that tomorrow most of us will wake up again. We will breathe. We will be close to the people we love. One thing that is flexible is that maybe not all of us will wake up again. The second question, or the second sets of question, is what are you clear about? And the only thing you can be absolutely clear about is your personal set of values and priorities. If you are very clear what your values and priorities are, you will be able to apply them to any given situation. And you will be maybe much quicker, much less afraid, and much more empowered to take agency and deal with life as it presents itself. Yesterday, I came back to the synagogue. I was here, I had a meeting, my kids were running around. Ida ran around in the community hall, and she tried to play with our flags there, the American flag, the Israeli flag. And I said, Ida, be careful, those are both wonky. And then I laughed a little bit. I don't think she got the joke. But here we are. Not so much is too fixed. Some things are fixed. A lot of things are flexible. A different word for flexible is they're pretty wonky. This place, though, at Beth Shalom, is a pretty fixed place. A lot of things here happen in a very prescribed and set manner. Literally, that's what we're famous for. We always read the same book. We're starting the book of Vayikra. We started it last year. We'll begin it next year. We'll sing the ever same prayers out of our prayer book. We sang them last week. We'll sing them next week. We will also celebrate Passover. We celebrated it last year. We celebrated it 3 years ago. And we will celebrate it again next year. We will have Seders in this building that we just renovated. There will be people. There will be matzah. We will sing Lecha Dodi. What is flexible about all this? Just the people, just us. We just have to decide to come. And then the space is going to help us answer the second set of questions. What are your values? What are your priorities? So there's a lot to lean on in this place. Things happen. I think Jim once said that to me. He said, it's a nice thing that now we have services every Friday. I don't always have to come. Sometimes I don't. But it's a nice thing to know. They're always happening, here or on Zoom. The other nice thing is that this community has some values. We're a Jewish home for Jews and their families in southwest Montana. It's poetic, right? We are welcoming. We're honest. We're curious. We're caring. Nothing that happens will ever change that. It will go on. One of the things, fewer and fewer moments, where I feel truly not American is the countless, the thousands of incidences that American rabbis use the word gratitude in their services. It's a hard one for me. I always think, but we're also the ones who complain all the time. So, what was good on this conference is that for the first time in a very long time, I was reminded of the true sense of gratitude. It's a poem shared by Rabbi Hera Person, who is our chief rabbi, in case you never heard her name. She is the CCAR CEO. She is the head of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, to which I belong. She was also my boss while I was still working as an editor in New York. And Hera is a poet, like me, a little bit. And she brought a poem to the Central Conference that she read to all of us aloud. And I put these tissues here because I don't know if I'll get through, to be honest. But it speaks to the attitude with which we walk narrow bridges. And it brings us back to the never-ceasing sense of who we are. We are Yehudim. We are those who say blessings, who utter praise, who say thank you. Even if the bridge is wonky, even if we only see the next 2 steps, but we walk and we balance and we say thank you. By W.S. Merwin. Listen, with the night falling, we are saying thank you. We are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings. We are running out of the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say thank you. We are standing by the water thanking it, standing by the windows looking out in our directions. Back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging after funerals, we are saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you. Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In doorways and in the backs of cars and in elevators, remembering wars and the police at the door and the beating on the stairs, we are saying thank you. In the banks, we are saying thank you. In the faces of the officials and the rich and of all who will never change, we go on saying thank and thank you. With the animals dying around us, taking our feelings, we are saying thank you. With the forest falling faster than the minutes of our lives, we are saying thank you. With the words going out like cells of a brain, with the cities growing over us, we are saying thank you faster and faster. With nobody listening, we are saying thank you. Thank you, we are saying and waving. Dark through it is. Shabbat Shalom. We are rising on page 164. For those of you who are able, the Amidah, a moment of quietness, a moment to find your own words, to say thank you. And we begin this dance, this very famous dance, with 3 steps to the front and 3 steps to the back, as if we're just trying to see if the floor, the ground is holding us, and we're trying to find a place to keep ourselves stable, the opposite of wonky.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Please continue on your own pace, 166 and forward. And when you're ready, page 180, or say Shalom, or just take as much time as you want.
Oh, say Shalom in Roma. Oh, yeah, say Shalom Aleinu. Re'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'imru
This was the part of the service that was for God. It was a mitzvah to say the Amidah. It's not a mitzvah to say the Mishiberach. And for most of us, it's not even a mitzvah to say the Kaddish. So we're gently switching gears into the voluntarily prayers, the ones that we just say for our community as it is. Thinking about a prayer for healing, a prayer for the deceased. I was thinking this week about singing and prayers in times of war. I was reminded of the fact that on Passover, we don't say the full Hallel other than the first 2 days, the full set of praises, because Passover came with a price. Many people died. We don't lick the wine of our fingertips when we dip for each of the 10 plagues a drop of wine on our plate, because we're not supposed to rejoice in the misery and the pain of others. And this year's, I've also thought anew about this very famous story of Lot's wife. This, unfaithful, untrusting woman who walked away from her hometown with their sons and daughters and her husband, and who made the mistake of looking back and looking at the absolute disaster that was unfolding behind her. And I always thought, oh, that's so stupid. She was so silly. Why wasn't she grateful to be there with her husband and her children? They were all still safe. And now I'm thinking she's the only normal one. Wouldn't you want to look? Are we not obliged to look? When cities and parts of cities turn into rubble and people die, is it not our human obligation to say at least, yes, I'm grateful that I'm standing here and not there, but yes, I see you. I'm aware that this is happening, and I'm in pain over that too. So before we go into say Mishiberach, please join me on page 97. Today we're jumping around a little bit. We're just here on 97. It starts with the diameter of the bomb. The diameter of the bomb was 30 centimeters, and the diameter of its destruction about 7 meters. And in it 4 killed and 11 wounded. And around these, in a larger circle of pain and time, are scattered 2 hospitals and 1 cemetery. But the young woman who was buried in the place from where she came, at a distance of more than 100 kilometers, enlarges the circle considerably. And the lonely man who is mourning her death in a distant country incorporates into the circle the whole world. And I won't speak of the cry of the orphans that reaches God's chair and from there makes the circle endless and godless. Page 371. Please join Josh and me for the Mishiberach. 371. We're saying Mishiberach for Tai, for Steph, for Geist, for Anya, and for Debbie. Are there any other names you would like to put in this place to share with this community before we begin the prayer? And Ari Weber.
Thomas Guthrie.
Peter Burnham and Joda Burnham.
371, a prayer for healing for all the many individuals and the many communities in need of healing.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please rise for the mourners' Kaddish. We are saying in this community, Kaddish for Loretta, for Dan, for Mort, and for Bob. Are there any other names of people you have lost recently, or someone who might have died during this time of the year, just before the beginning of Passover, who you are holding close to your heart today? Marcus? The bar mitzvah boy? Okay, great. So we're not adding him now. Please, 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חיותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יחון וביום יחון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. Page 627, Shalom Aleichem. May peace come to you. May peace come above. May peace come to all of us.
Shalom Aleichem,
מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. לכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
A lot is going on. And that's a good thing also. So tomorrow is Torah study. I'm teaching. Sunday is Yiddish. And I believe also Alexander Technique this Sunday. And then book club is meeting at 5. So the synagogue building is buzzing if you want to come by this Sunday. Next Tuesday, the Bar Mitzvah class is resuming. We're in the last stretch of the year, it feels, because our school year always ends around Lag BaOmer in May. Thursday is another Yiddish class. Friday is one of my classes. We are wrapping up the second half of the Jewish calendar in the mysticism class. If you feel like learning everything about the month between Tishrei and Adar, please join us for those last sessions on Fridays on Zoom at 1:30 p.m. Also, I am preparing a summer 2-day intensive about Jewish liturgy and prayer leading and the rules of the prayer service and how to actually read the prayer book. So if you're interested, the time constraints, it's wonky, like everything else in the world. Please let me know what your time constraints are. I will do my best to accommodate most of you. We have next week, we have Touch Shabbat and religious school, and then services with Kyle, followed by Torah study the following week, April 1st. Probably the most important thing you need to know. Okay, thank you, Sarah. We make you work here. Thank you. It is on. This is very great, and it just came back at the perfect moment. So everybody on Zoom too, please sign up for a community seder, April 1st, 6:30, here in the space. It's a vegetarian plus fish community potluck seder. So you have to bring one dish, one dish per household. Usually we have too much food and not too little food, but I'm still always anxious because, one day we'll all starve to death here. And then the Saturday morning, the Shabbat morning of Passover, April 4th, we will have a Passover service here in the synagogue starting at 9:30, followed by our traditional matzah and egg and cream cheese Passover oneg. So please join us for all of these. I also want to say thank you to Marnie and Cody and Josh, who all played essential roles for the services tonight. And here we are, leaving Egypt one more time. May we do it carefully. May we not forget to sing when we arrive on the other side. Maybe make sure that everybody's limping along, even the Europeans who complain all the time, even the Americans who beat and massage their chests, even all of us who sometimes just feel anxious and sad. We're walking together. So if you want to and you're sitting next to someone who you want to hold hands with, please do. But if you don't want to hold hands with, I was once taught by a rabbi, just make a fist, hold your own hand, hold yourself tight. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha V'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you, and may God protect you. May God wrap you in God's light, and may you feel God's presence like a warm hug, like a talus, like an extra layer of air around your shoulders at all time. May God breathe into your belly full anxiety. May God smile into your tired eyes. May you walk step after step, knowing that you're beloved, that you're important, that you're safe. Page 657. Od yavo shalom aleinu. May peace come.
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom and Chodesh Tov. May you see lots of blossoming trees. And Kiddush is in